YouTubers, thanks so much for checking out this video. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Trish and I'm with Just Dance. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you 5 tips to become a better dancer over time. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so our first tip, and if you've seen some of our videos, you're probably tired of me saying it, and maybe you've already guessed it, but it's posture. Posture, posture, posture. We cannot move effectively from one foot to the other with good balance, fluidity, grace, without having good posture. So posture is number 1. Let's talk about what good posture means. So when we think of good posture, I think most people think of just standing up straight. But there's more to it than just standing up straight, okay? We have 4 blocks of weight, and these blocks of weight are crucial that they're stacked one on top of the other so that you can move effectively from foot to foot with good balance and control. So what are they? We have our head, we have our shoulders, we have the rib cage, and we have the hips. So those are our 4 blocks of weight, and this is how I want you to focus on getting to that good posture. So I'm going to stand this way for you. Your head is going to be back, and your chin should be level with the floor. So you don't want to have it tilted upwards. A lot of times teachers say, look up, but we don't actually want you to look up because then you're crunching the back of your neck and you're not actually in good alignment right now. We just don't want you to look down. And a lot of times when people are dancing, they look down. So that's why you'll hear your teacher say, look up. But what we really mean is keep your head straight. So your chin is level to the floor, your eyes are looking out and kind of out towards the horizon. And then we want to make sure our head is placed right over top of the shoulders. So it's not sticking forward and it's not leaning back or up or down, it's just straight. Then you have your shoulders, right? So our shoulders are a girdle. They're very flexible. They can move independently from the rib cage. But we want to make sure that we're not overworking them. So we don't want to squeeze them back because the result in squeezing your shoulders together is it pulls your arms behind your body, which is not a good place for your arms to be, since your arms actually should be out in front of your body and you should be able to see them peripherally. So we want the shoulders to be down and out. We don't want to shorten our back and make it look smaller, and we definitely don't want to round our back and have them forward like we're slouching. This is what we do when we're on the computer all day, right? So the head's up, shoulders are forward. I'm exaggerating maybe a little bit, but not too much. So again, we want the shoulders down and out. Head is over top of them. Next is the rib cage. So I want you to think about your body as a pulley system. So meaning that if one part of your body, like the front of your body contracts, the back of your body expands. If the back of your body contracts, the front of your body expands. Well, we want this to be a level pulley. So we don't want one side further than the other. So I want you to think of flattening your rib cage in the front, which is going to lengthen it a little bit in the back. And when you do that, you might feel that your abs are starting to tighten, and that's where we want to be. That's your rib cage being nice and flat. Lastly, we have our hips. So your pelvis, it's like a bowl. I want you to imagine that you have water in your bowl and you don't want to spill it. So we're going to keep it nice and level, which means we don't want to tip it forward or do the opposite and try and overcorrect by pulling it in. We're going to keep it nice and neutral. So let's recap our posture. Head is over the shoulders. Shoulders is over the ribs. Ribs is over the hips. Head, you have your chin is level to the floor. Your shoulders are down and out. We're not rolling them forward. We're not squeezing them back. Nice and comfortable. Ribs are flat. Pelvis is neutral. You want to try and focus on this throughout your day so that it becomes something you don't have to think about when you're dancing. And that's going to make it easier for you to balance as you're moving from foot to foot in any dance that you do. So tip number 2 is going to be technique. Technique, technique, technique. Whatever dance you're doing, there is technique that needs to be practiced. And that's important because with proper technique, movements are easier. It's easier to keep up with the music. It's easier to connect with a partner. It just makes every single step you do easier. And you want to drill this so that whenever you're dancing, you don't have to think about your technique. It just happens. So for example, a rhythm dancer is going to work on their body action when they're doing their rumba. They're gonna focus on all of the things that make Cuban motion or Latin hip action happen. So for a smooth dancer or a standard dancer, maybe you're focusing on your drive and your swing and your sway. And then controlling how you lower and preparing for your next step. So these are things that every dancer needs to practice and work on so that they can become the best dancer that they can be. So make sure you're practicing your technique. Tip number 3 is connection. And to go over connection, I'm going to invite Anna out to join me so we can show you what I mean. All right, so we're going to, I don't know why I came over here, I want to go on this side. So let's talk about connection in like a standard or a smooth dance. So we have points of contact that are really important. The first point of contact is going to be our hands. You saw Anna, she's leading. She offered the hand out as an invitation for me to dance, and we are lightly clasping our hands here. We are palm to palm. So what I don't want to see is a separation in the palms. So we want to make sure our palms are flush to each other. Our hands are lightly clasped. We're not squeezing. We're just holding each other's hand. We're not tense. We're not loose. We're just somewhere in the middle, that sweet spot. We're going to go ahead and turn around. So now the other side, this is more of a ballroom hold. She's going to make connection with my shoulder blade, like right under the shoulder where my arm meets my back. And her elbows pointed out to the wall. My middle finger and thumb are gonna find the V of my partner's bicep, and I'm just going to rest lightly there. Now the thing about connection is if we have a bad connection, it's like having a weak signal and not getting good cell service. You can't really hear the other person, you can't really search the web very well, it's just weak. So that's kind of what connection is to partner dancing. If you have a weak connection, you're going to have a difficult time leading and following each other. So you want to make sure that you keep your arms lifted, you keep tone in them, you maintain your points of contact. You're not resting on your partner and weighing them down and making them tired. You're holding your own arms up and you're making sure that you stay, as the follower, responsive, and as the leader, nice and clear with tone in your arms. All right, so now we're gonna show you that same thing, but with my back to you, because I want you all to see our positioning. So notice that whenever I approach my partner, I'm offset and I'm finding my window, and Anna has her window. Okay, so we take our frame, and notice that in these dances, we're not looking at each other. So when we're connecting, everything that's being done is felt through the body and through the arms. So if Anna was to rotate around, I can follow her because I can feel where her body's going through our points of contact. She could take me into a different position, like promenade, and we would turn and we would come back. So those are just some examples of how we connect with each other in the smooth or standard dances. So now let's talk about rhythm. So we still have the same connected hands in rhythm, but our arms are gonna stay more in front of the body, and we're gonna have more of a rounded shape. So she's gonna find just under my shoulder. I'm gonna connect my bicep on her forearm and let my arm rest gently on top of hers. We still have tone in our hands, and we're a little bit more like looking at each other. So we're not square to each other like actually in any dance. You always have a little bit of an offset position. But in these dances, we need to look at our partner. You shouldn't be like looking to see what's going on around you. You should be focused on your partner when you're dancing. And then from here, since we have this nice smooth connection through the side of the body, when Anna moves, I will move. So she might do salsa. I had no clue what she was gonna throw at me, but I'm just following it. And I'm also looking at her. I wanna see where she's going so that I can match what she's doing. So she could also just kind of rotate me around one way or the other, and I will be able to follow it because we have a good connection. So that's our tip is on connection, is making sure that you have good points of contact with your partner. And in some dances, make sure you're looking at your partner. And in other dances, just making sure that you have nice connection through your rib cage or through your points of contact so that you can feel what each other are doing and you can respond appropriately. All right, our fourth tip is on musicality. You can't have dancing without music, right? But so many times when people dance, they're not even aware of the music. And that's kind of a problem since we're dancing to the music, right? So let's talk a little bit about what it means to have good musicality. So first of all, musicality is like dancing on time, right? So you hear a beat, you're stepping on the beat. Your feet are marking that cadence throughout whatever dance you're doing. But then we also need to express ourselves to the music and we need to flow with it so that what you're hearing is matching what you're seeing. That's true musicality. So how do we do that? Well, in a rhythmical action, I could do a shimmy to the music. I could do a body roll. I could do a big arm sweep. I can roll my body right and left and express the music or the melody through my body, even though my feet are marking the rhythm or the timing. So that is something that you can focus on to make your dancing more musical. So what I recommend that you do is listen to music. Listen to the music of whatever dances you're working on and get familiar with them. So you can start to anticipate what's gonna happen in this song. How can I express that because I know what might be coming? A lot of music is written kind of similarly. So like if you're doing a foxtrot, a lot of foxtrots have similar highlights and I guess like big expressions that you might want to accent in your dancing. So the more familiar you get with that type of music or salsa or waltz or tango, the more familiar you get with those types of songs, the easier it will be for you to be more musical in your dancing. So for example, if you're a competitive dancer, you have choreography and you have this set choreography, you've practiced it and you really don't divert much from it. But what happens when you're at competition? And for those of you that don't know, competitors don't know what song they're gonna be dancing to, it's a surprise. So we have this set choreography, we have no clue what our choreography is going to be danced to. And that's kind of a fun challenge. But it doesn't mean you need to change your choreography when you're dancing, but you should change how you emote to that music. So you can have the same steps and you can connect with your partner, but you can emote differently based on the type of song that is playing. So is the song very energetic and lively? Well, then you should match that. Is the song kind of sad or is it romantic? Whatever you're hearing in that song, you should be able to emote and put that into your dancing so that you can be more musical. So next time you're practicing or even competing, I want you to really try and listen to what you're dancing to and not just think about what your choreography is. All right, we've made it to tip number 5. Tip number 5 is repetition, repetition, repetition. I've kind of dropped these hints throughout this video. Not sure if you caught them, but repetition is the key to becoming a better dancer. Why? Because the more you do something, the better you get at it, the less you have to think about it, and the more natural it becomes. So this doesn't mean that you need to practice hours and hours and hours on end. You could just take a little bit of time out of your day, every day or every other day even, or even just a few times a week, depending on what level you're dancing at. You have to decide what works for you and what you can fit into your schedule. But I'm saying, like, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes a day, depending on, you know, what your goals are in dance. And then of course professionals dance a lot more than that, but you know, you have to see what works for you. The key is doing it frequently, even if it's just a small amount of time, is going to make you better. The more time you let pass between taking lessons or between practice sessions, the more rusty you're gonna get, the more time you're gonna spend in just trying to remember things. You don't wanna be in that place. You wanna get to a place where you already know it and you're just getting it better. You're working on that technique. You're working on your posture. You're working on your musicality. These are things you can practice and have lots of repetition, which is going to make you that much more comfortable on the dance floor. And so this brings me to my bonus thing. I don't know if I wanna call it a tip, but it's a bonus. So all of these things combined Posture, technique, connection, musicality, and repetition are going to help you get to a place where you can be in the moment when you're dancing and truly enjoy being on the floor, connecting with your partner, enjoying the music, and expressing yourself. Because you've done this so much, you've practiced it so much, you're aware of these things, you don't have to think about them anymore, so you're able to just let loose and enjoy yourself out on the floor. And so those are my tips for you today to becoming a better dancer. Again, it was posture, technique, connection, musicality, repetition, and then allowing yourself to be in the moment. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. We look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.